Hello everyone, I'm Knives, and this is going to be some gameplay of Scarlet's Playhouse. I'm soloing it on my level 80 Thief, who is wearing Valkyrie gear, specifically Valkyrie gear of Divinity. I'm going for crit damage, and it's just because I like to mess around in stealth. Basically, any build that you know how to play and that has condition removal will work perfectly fine. It's very simple to solo this instance, I guess you could say. So all the gear that I have is just either crafted through leatherworking or my daggers, which I purchased on the auction house. So here are my talents. I'm mainly just going for the 100% critical chance coming out of stealth and the condition removal in stealth, and then I like to get some move speed when I roll. So, like I said, basically any build will work as long as you know how to play it. For skills, for your utility skills, I personally like to use Shadow Refuge. I like to use the move speed. In this run, you're going to need to use the move speed because you basically just run past all of the mobs and only fight her. So I like to use, I'm pretty sure in this run I'm using the extra 15% damage and Shadow Refuge and move speed. I like to use Blade Storm, as I like to call it. I'm pretty sure it's actually called Dagger Storm though. I use it just on mobs, but you don't actually need Dagger Storm at all in here. Using Thieves Guild is actually much more useful, and for some of the bosses you don't want to use Thieves Guild, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. So I get pretty bored when I'm just sitting around doing nothing, so I tend to just hop around. So you have to wait, and so what we're going to do here is we're going to hop through the rocks and the lava, and then we're going to run up to where she's making a stew out of a person, and we're going to stop that. So just hop across the rocks and just dodge out of the way to avoid taking damage, and then once I get up to the fight area, I use Shadow Refuge to kind of reset the fight because I forgot that there was only one person that I end up fighting. And so you take out the first guy, and you want to make sure to destroy all of the... actually, it turns out there were two. You want to make sure to destroy everything that you fight in here because they will respawn, and it can be annoying, especially if you mess up a stealth in a fight. So after you take out the first group, you run over and you grab the fire extinguishers and you put out the fire. She's going to keep lighting the fire, but you can put it out faster than she can make the fire. Then once you put all of the fire out, she will spawn more creatures, and you just fight them and then destroy them when you're done killing them, and it's basically just rinse and repeat. So in some of these fights I get kind of sloppy, or I mess up stealth and I get kind of close. Also, sometimes I use Shadow Refuge relatively pointlessly when I just want to make sure that I'm not out of position or anything. So you just kill everything and put the fires out, and that's the whole fight. You want to make sure that you destroy things because that can cause problems. So finishing up this last creep here and going over and grabbing the fire extinguisher and putting it out because we don't want our buddy getting cooked. That's never good. So now we've got the last group up. For this last group, I actually end up using my short bow. Now the reason why I use my short bow is with your second ability, you can explode the shot in midair, turning it into 3 projectiles. So the reason why I do this is because when it hits 3 times, it's hitting 3 times on each person, and each of those triggers your heal skill, the passive heal skill where you get a little bit of health. So rather than healing once if I was using my daggers, now I'm healing 3 times for every person I hit, and since there were 3 people there, I was healing 9 times every time I used my explosive shot. So I eat some food. I use the almond brittle food because it gives you experience in magic find, and I like loot, so it works out. Now they have a nice long dialogue here, which I don't really show, but you have to just wait until the gate opens, and then in this area you're going to run past every one of the minions and just go straight into the next encounter. You don't actually end up fighting any of the mobs in between the events. You just skip them and then only do the events. So you're going to be running past centaurs. I suggest having move speed, of course, and using a longbow. It's quite easy to get through. If you have any trouble with it, you can just get partway through using your longbow, and then if you get caught and you're having problems, use a shadow refuge and you'll be good. It gives you enough stealth to go through basically the whole area, but it's quite easy. If you just dodge when they start attacking you and make sure to use your teleport with your short bow as much as possible, then you'll be covered. So here we're fighting her for the second time, and this time she's wizened up. She's decided to actually fight this time, and she has a shield. So in this fight, she's going to give you torment, which you do not want. So you want to try to stay at range, but the important thing is cannonballs are being fired from the sky, and those break her shield. So you want to walk her through the cannonballs, and you want to try to not get hit by her pistols, because she'll use a little pistol barrage in front of her, which causes the torment. And I use Shadow Refuge to just remove the condition. That's part of why I like this build. So when you break her shield, you can just use dots and get her down, like with your poison from your bow, or you can just let the cannonballs kill her all by themselves, because they do damage when they hit her. But just making sure that you don't let her kill you, because you will get the achievement for not being downed. Now the achievement for not being downed, it's not dying, it's being downed at all. So even if you have to revive yourself, that still counts as being down. So you want to make sure to stay relatively safe, because being downed will lose you the achievement. But it's a quick run, so it's not that big a deal if you get downed. You might as well just finish it to the end and, you know, get the practice of knowing what's coming so that you can deal with it accordingly. So here I get kind of low, and she's also quite low, so I'm just going to get her in another cannonball, and I believe I just burst her down at this point. No, I don't. I heal up because I get scared. Her torment is pretty painful. I'm using dagger and short bow, so I probably should have just swapped to my dagger and gotten free stealth off of that, as opposed to hiding, but it's not that big a deal. Here I actually end up going the wrong way. For some reason I just like climbing on pirate ships, and it slows me down a little bit here, but I'm not going for a speed run. I was just going for a completed run with no down, without getting downed at all. So here I just hop over to the other side, and it's pretty simple. You just run through the mobs and you run up to her. These mobs are really easy to avoid. You take the path that I'm taking, and then right when I use my short bow and my dodges, just copy that, and none of the monsters will hit you at all, and you'll keep your speed, and you'll arrive at the third fight. Now during the third fight, you want to make sure to have Thieves Guild on, which I actually switched to. In this fight, you just want to attack her. So you want to stay out of her globs on the ground, and you want to avoid, she will do a frontal cone smash. Now I'm not sure how much damage it does, as I haven't been hit by it. It's quite obvious to see. She'll take her weapon and it will start glowing, and then she'll smash it on the ground and it does a frontal cone. So if you just stand right up close to her, she'll start using it, and I'll highlight it. So she'll start charging it up, just walk around her, and keep fighting her. Stay out of the globs. I'm not sure if the globs do damage or not, but if they do, just tumble out of them and it's no big deal. It's a pretty simple fight. Just don't get hit by her frontal smash, and you're fine. She doesn't do any other damage besides that. So if you dodge that, it's just kill it. You don't even have to have good gear. You can just, if you know the mechanics, you can complete that fight quite easily. Next, we're going to run up to the last fight. Now, the last fight is tricky, but it's easily manageable. And basically, I would suggest staying in your short bow for the entire duration of this fight, as it provides the most utility, mainly through the fact that it's ranged and the fact that you can dodge. So, as you see, there are barrels all around this arena. You want to go near the barrels, and she will shoot at you with a rifle. You want to dodge the bullets as much as possible, and then once you've dodged the shots, at least once you've dodged some of her shots, she'll use a move that basically turns herself into a cannonball, and she shoots herself at you. So what you want to do is just dodge her regular shots, and then once you see her, a red circle appear around the ground next to you, now you want to be standing next to the barrels, and this is why. Because she will shoot herself at you, and you dodge out of the way, and then she hits the barrel, and it removes her invincibility. So then you want to dot her up, and make sure to keep shooting her, and keep shooting her. So this fight, you can die here, but you just want to make sure to dodge, and if you get any burn effects on you, just stealth up and you'll be fine. So if she runs up close to you, use your short bow to teleport away, because she'll do a move that does some damage and kind of shoves you back, so you can just avoid her shoving you back and avoid the damage. Also, she won't turn herself into a cannonball and shoot herself at you if you're right on top of her, and then you won't be able to remove her invincibility, and you won't be able to finish the fight. So here I summon my Thieves Guild. It's not a bad idea, but it's also not a great idea. You might as well just go through the fight like normal, but I got impatient and pulled them out. The reason why you don't really want to pull them out is there is a chance that she will target them when using her cannonball move, as you just saw, and she will target them. They might not be standing on an explosive barrel, so it kind of wastes some of your time, but I feel like it's worth it for the damage. So here, I have her low enough that I feel like I can just finish her off, and I do. Now that's the whole event, and I finished it without being downed at all. I wanted to join her up on those boxes and give my own speech, but she wouldn't let me, so instead I just kept freely teleporting away, and that's basically it. That's the end of the instance, and you should have your achievement. The 3-minute saving achievement can be a bit of a problem, but it is possible to solo. I did it with a group, but it definitely is possible to solo. I don't have the most ideal gear, as I'm mostly set up for PvP. I have been told that if you have full Berserker gear and you're set up properly for PvE, you can just blow through this like it's nothing. So that's how you do Scarlet's Playhouse solo as a level 80 thief. Enjoy.
Really? Speaking of royalty, did the Queen notice how brave I was right before I got captured? I'm looking for an upside here.
You're alive and intact, my lord. That's more of an upside than most of her victims got. Savor the little things.
Still, she doesn't